Hello everybody and welcome to Planet Sky FF, the world where everything revolves around £50,000. My name's Suj.
My name is James.
Sky Fantasy Football.
Overhaul.
I don't mind talking about Sky this week because I had a slightly better week.
Did you?
79 points.
That's exactly what I got.
Is it?
Yeah.
Match, snap. So we're still
Have we got the same team?
by 1 point. No, because neither of us made any transfers. And yeah, in the lead up to this, when we talked last week, it was like, should we make the move or shouldn't we? I didn't make any moves. I'm assuming you didn't make any moves.
No.
And it ended up being not a bad week in the end. I had Edison clean sheet, Van Dijk and Trent clean sheets and BPS, Kevin De Bruyne, Tielemans, Haller and Wilson all returning, and Sigurdsson with an assist.
So you didn't sell Tielemans then?
No, I didn't.
Even Dan Cox was messaging me on Saturday. He goes, I'm really hoping he didn't fucking sell him.
I think there was a tweet. I can't remember who tweeted, but I didn't sell him. No, and he picked me up a nice 11 points. Gave me a game week rank of 60,000, which is exactly the same as yours.
Bravo, sir.
Yeah.
Bravo. Next week, we're going to do a big kind of extended pod on Overhaul, target players, etc. So I've decided we're just going to have a laugh on this and look at all the mistakes we've made so far.
Yeah. So overall now, I'm 75,000. You?
Oh, that's a good question. About 79,000, I think I am now.
Is that good?
79,000, yeah.
Is that good?
I have no idea.
Nor do I.
I have no idea.
Nor do I.
I feel like
everybody that I know, like FPL addict Chris, who I saw the other day, and Dan Loco Lorden, I look down at Planet FPL League. Everyone that I have any interaction with or our correspondents are all way ahead.
Yeah, I know.
50, 60 points ahead. So I don't feel like it's particularly going well.
I feel like everybody in the Planet FPL mini league is absolutely smashing it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 200 out of 225 or something.
But what we obviously can't see, as we've said so many times, is we can't really. I think we know most of the guys that are listening to this have not been spunking too many of their
You can
transfers.
hide your team, so.
Yeah, I have no interest in doing that, Adam. What's the point of me hiding my team when everyone just listens to this podcast knows what I'm going to do?
Yeah, that's true.
So,
but I'm going to hide my team.
I
don't know how. When I find the setting to hide your team, I'm going to hide
like I
it.
said, if that money starts appearing as a possibility, the team's getting hidden.
Yeah, sure.
But I don't think I've got a chance of winning it this year and one of the reasons for that is the amount of mistakes I've already made.
What happens next? Overhaul time. When you say you've made mistakes, which ones stand out as mistakes for you?
Certain ones are just trying to fit players in, like. If you look back on, say, Norwood, who I kind of got in as hoping that he could be a captain for me on the game week 2 Sunday and potentially hit passing totals. I mean, he's hit me 2 points for 4 weeks. Like 8 points in this game over a 4-week period is fucking useless.
Yep.
Like, that's nothing. It really is nothing. Gambling on Kurt Zuma because of the price. He's picked me up a total of 5 from 4 games.
Not good.
No, it's not. I mean, the -2 at Old Trafford game week 1 didn't help. And it's the guys that you would have the trust and the power in that have performed the best, right? So Alexander-Arnold, 23 points over the 4 games, including obviously a 12 at the weekend. Van Dijk, consistent as ever, 25 points from the 4 games. Just outscoring Trent, partly because obviously he keeps hitting them fucking passing tiers. John Stones ended up with 1 game with. Because of injury.
Yeah, unfortunate, right?
Well, his 9 points in game week 1 was still nearly double what Zuma's got me, and more than Norwood got me in the 4 games. But it was a gamble.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that would really change next year is not try and be too clever in terms of looking at, say, a John Stones, and he might have played all 4 games had he been fit, but not looking at it and going, do you know what? Him in that team with Laporte, he could be hitting the passing tiers really regularly. Mm-hmm. But not being absolutely certain if he'd be used there, or Fernandinho, or if Otamendi would get favouritism. Not taking that gamble. Even if I look at Zuma, I've got the 4 games out of him. Massive gamble. Like Tomori came in for Christensen at the weekend. Rudiger's very close. We didn't really know when we started how long Rudiger would be out for. Most of us probably thought he'd be back before game week the game week that's just gone, was a gamble.
Yeah.
Way too many mistakes. Jota, another one. Just avoid anyone in that Europa qualifying early season.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care who they are next year.
Looking at my team now, I don't feel like I made many mistakes. Gilbert was in there because I needed a 4.5, and he ended up now he's got 7 points, but 7 points from 2 games. So extrapolate that out. If he'd got me 14 points from 4 games, I'd be happy with that. It's just he just happened to not start.
Well, the other benefit of Gilbert is he's basically the cheapest game player in the game.
Yeah.
So obviously he does enable you others, which is the benefit. And essentially, we talk about buying people at say 4.0 in FPL, and essentially anything they get you is a bonus.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like that with him because he's that cheap.
Yeah. And Jota's the one that hasn't got me returns. Now, that I would say is a mistake. The thing with Jota is that I don't know. I had it so firmly in my mind for FPL that I wouldn't pick Wolves players because of the Europa League. Why I stuck him in here, I have no idea.
Because
out of position, perhaps.
Because you see him as a midfielder, you see him as priced at 8.3, and you expect greater returns based on his last 2-3 months of last season. In fact, probably going back to the hat-trick against Leicester in January, and you think, yeah, great, I need him in. And a lot of the experienced players went for Jota in both FPL and Sky. I just think as a rule next year, I'd go, nah, fuck that.
Europa League, forget about it.
Essentially, what I've ended up with is a midfield of Kevin De Bruyne. Which is not enough.
No, it really
it's
isn't.
Not enough.
But you went power up front. So Gylfi's given me 13 points, Kevin De Bruyne 35, and Yuri Tielemans 17. So Sigurdsson and Tielemans, I don't think were bad picks. So I don't look at those guys and feel like they were mistakes. They've just taken a couple of weeks to warm up. So with the overhaul now, the question is, do I stick with Tielemans after he's just got me a bumper return? I mean, to be honest, he could have just as easily got sent off, right?
You were lucky from that extent, but you absolutely did the right thing in holding on to it.
Of course.
Obviously, he doesn't get the second assist if he's sent off as well.
No.
But you have to take that with glee, mate. Listen, there's a lot of luck involved in the games, and you did the right thing holding on.
I think another mistake of mine is not having... So outfield players, take the defence aside, Sigurdsson, De Bruyne, Jota, Tielemans, Wilson, Sterling, Haller. I don't think I need a second big name player. Sterling's my only big player. So if you look at Kane, Salah, Aguero, I need another one from a different team. Whereas it's all well and good KDB, but I can't captain both KDB and Sterling on different days. They're the same flipping team. So my alternative top 4 captaincy choices were VVD, which I did twice, and it didn't really, it's not worth it. So for me, I want a second premium.
I want a third. I want to go. My instinct at the moment, and I've really not even looked at what I would do with an overhaul yet. Genuinely, not tried to draft anything at all. I certainly will before next week's pod. But I want a massive front 3.
Sterling, Kane, Salah.
I can say now without going into too much detail because we want to go into every team a little bit next week. There is one person I don't even need to look at is an absolute certainty to be in my overhaul team, and that is Aubameyang.
I was going to say Aubameyang
absolute
too. At his price,
certainty.
he really is.
The price is immaterial. It's looking further ahead at the fixtures and how many of them are on the Sundays. And if you look at all the Sunday fixtures coming up over sort of September, October, he looks like the standout option on I think maybe all bar one of the games on the Sundays. He also gives you a Monday night cover for when they play at Old Trafford as well. They've got an amazing run, Arsenal. And Aubameyang is an absolute certainty to be in my team.
When did they announce the fixtures?
A few weeks ago, mate. But obviously, we never looked further than game week 4. You didn't have to, did you?
November hasn't been announced
So
yet.
the TV fixtures are until September, October. I don't know. I'll check and find out. We might even get a November announcement before the overhaul finishes, possibly. I don't think so. But I don't think you need to look that far ahead. There are a couple of interesting ones to note on the single days, like Southampton have 2 Friday night games, Bournemouth at home and Leicester at home.
Yes.
But I don't know if you know where. Honestly, right now, until I look at it, I wouldn't even know the majority of Southampton players' prices in this.
Yeah.
So that's the sort of thing we really want to kind of delve into the detail and look at who we would be looking at. But the number one thing for me is it's got to be a power 3 up front, because the difference of these guys up front and the captaincy numbers they can provide against the rest. I mean, if you hit 3-4 big captains in a week, essentially the rest probably doesn't even matter too much.
Yeah, I'm agreed with you on that for sure.
What you want is consistency in behind of a couple like your Van Dijks, De Bruyne's, Trent's. I think we're both happy with the choices of the 3 of them who are going to tick you over. But then if you have all 3 of them, does that mean you can have a power front 3? I'm not sure.
Price-wise, it's going to be particularly difficult.
Till I really play with it, I'm really not sure at all of the answer. I just want to look at numbers of some of the midfielders, for example. So De Bruyne's got 35 points so far. How do you order these? Oh, yeah, points. That would be handy.
That's one thing that we do need to tell Sky. Their website is just garbage.
Richarlison, 30. Mount, 27 at 7.3 is going to come into people's thoughts. Daniel James is relatively expensive, I would say, 8 million, 26 points. David Silva's had a great couple of weeks with those 4 assists. But those midfield numbers compared to some of the powers of the forwards, and you'll be captaining them, not worth it. But I'll be picking a team with Aubameyang and 10 others. I can say that right now.
Pukki's only 7.8 million in this game, but he's a bit not as valuable, I would say, almost in this situation.
No,
I'm not jumping on thinking about getting Pukki in yet.
I think like where you want to make concessions is those kind of things, like a cheapy Southampton if it leaves you that captaincy for the 2 nights.
Yeah.
Kind of a little bit like what I just said was a massive mistake doing that with... Well, not a massive mistake, because having Norwoods in there has enabled me other players. But I don't really want to be having concerns about these guys. I definitely need 3 up front now. That I know, that I've learned. And there isn't enough trust really in the defensive guys. One of the big calls, I think, for a lot of people, I kind of advised against it last week, would be to go Gilbert and Burn. Obviously, Duffy got left out for Brighton at the weekend, and he stayed in as the left-sided. And of those 4 centre-halves, Burn, Webster, Duffy, Dunk, he's the natural left footer. So if they're going to play a back 3, it feels safe. It actually probably feels safer than Gilbert.
Yeah, I'm surprised Duffy was left out.
But then you're going to get no returns off those guys. But then are you almost playing it and going, I've got a 9-player team, almost. And anything they get me is a bonus. The great fear for me is if one of them's out for a longer term, like replacing them becomes an absolute dog. Which is a real issue.
Top point scoring defender, Suyuncu.
Yeah.
It's mildly confusing for me. I think Lucas Dean is more interesting for me.
Well, Suyuncu, excuse me, he's hit quite a few passing tiers on that, I think, hasn't he?
Yeah,
you'll tell me, Suj.
Particularly well. Here we go. Tackle tier and passing tier, 5-pointer this weekend. Previous week, assists and man of the match. Game week 1, obviously clean sheet and passing tier and man of the match. So he's had a 13 and an 8 and a 7-point haul. Not bad.
And relatively cheap at 7.8. I think
2 man of the match performances in 4 is very good.
He'll be in a lot of teams. Leicester have got a challenging run of fixtures, I think. Right now they're in with a shot at top 4.
100%. I think they are. They really
I spoke on one of the pods last week about, I think it was when we had Bradley and Sean on, when we did the Everton Wolves correspondent special. And we were saying, like, you've got to get ahead.
Yeah, you certainly do.
Leicester are ahead.
Yeah, for sure.
They've got kind of... Well, they've got, a point on Arsenal, and they've got 3 points on Spurs, Chelsea, United. So they've got a game's grace, if you will. They obviously play, I think, over the next 4 game weeks, Spurs at home and Liverpool away. But it's the other 2 games are more important. Win the other 2 games, they'll probably still stay ahead.
Yeah, true. Palace in with a shout for top 4 as well while they're sitting there.
Palace is so interesting because obviously when we had Mig on, it was like, yeah, you're going down.
2 wins.
And he was like, yeah, maybe. They've won 2 games and now they're 4th.
Yeah, it's mental how tight the table is.
Well, at the moment, yeah, it just shows you put back-to-back wins together. That's where you can be in this
I think after game week 5 and game week 6 will be particularly interesting because, look, West Ham are 7 points down to 4 points. Burnley. if we win our next game and they were to lose, that becomes a 6-point gap. Then we start seeing this divide happening across the middle of the table of 6 to 8 points.
You're talking about trying to get a divide between West Ham and Burnley.
Well, against the middle of the table, not West Ham and Burnley. They just happen to be the highest placed team on 4 points at the moment as it stands. So there you go. So next week, Sky, every team, every player, well, not every player, but every potential player that we're looking at will be coming at you. I'll have my overhaul done and dusted by then as well.
I don't think you can say done and dusted when we record next,
but it'll be done
next Wednesday, because obviously we won't know the weekend team news, right? And
sure.
Someone picks up an injury coming back from internationals, etc. You've got to be prepared to change it. But we'll come in with as best as we can what our overhaul would be sitting at and go through it. And I really want to break into some of the teams and fixtures for sort of September, October, a bit more detail on kind of.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that the November fixtures come out as well.
I don't think it's worth looking that far ahead.
No, but I think
that's
too
too
far.
far.
Life. My wife keeps like every other day. It's like, have you got football on this day? Have you got football on this day? I'm like, I don't know. Like on paper, yes, but they could move it.
I think like that September, October, it's only about 6 fixtures or so.
Yeah.
Because of obviously the
international
breaks. There's only around about 6 game weeks in real world time.
Yeah.
6 games, shall we say. So I think that's enough. And I would want to get to a point again where I'm picking a team, and other than obvious where I can get people talking about this sort of 3-for-1, where you can, I should have made that move, Kane to Aubameyang, on the Sunday of game week 1. Those are the key moves.
Yes.
And try and leave the rest as best as possible, which I don't know the answer yet in terms of like your Gilberts and Burns, if they're worth it, or people like Norwood who are just sitting there as placeholders. If any of these guys are worth it, is it just all about the power in the captaincy? I feel like the more I'm learning the game, the more I feel like this captain shit is absolutely critical.
Magic, indeed. Yes. So, guys, thanks for listening to Planet Sky FF. Stay tuned next week for a full breakdown on what James and I are going to be doing in terms of overhaul and the teams and thoughts around that. But in the meantime, enjoy tinkering with your teams without having to worry about price rises, and keep your hands off the 50,000 because it's coming to one of us.
It's really not.
Ciao for now.
Cue music, man. Ciao. Good luck, everyone.
And that's that.
Did you just do a little...
Yeah. Don't need to time the thing. Cool. We're
well
good.
done.
Messi, ancora Messi,